Hi guys, Eliza here. Hey, I am filling up my water bottle. I'm telling you, one of the things that's helped me get back in shape is by drinking plenty of water. I was extremely horrible at doing it. I just spilled some. And now, little by little, what I've done is also taking my vitamins, incorporate one thing at a time into my lifestyle. Do it for about 2 to 4 weeks, and then you can add something else in. And now I just need to mix up add some other vitamins here. Little protein shake. I have to have this every morning. It's actually helped me with some of my rosacea that's really bad on the rampage right now. And just thought I would share what I do in the morning. This is what I do every single morning right now. Since it's Saturday morning, I decided to meal prep. And what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna create 3 different meals. And what I did was when I purchase my proteins, I purchase proteins that I eat all the time. Then I decide to make whatever kind of meals that I'm hungry for. Usually I'll look in my fridge and see, oh, do I have extra bell pepper? Do I have spinach? Do I have something I need to use up? Or I also think, what did we have last week that we would love to have again this week? One of the things I'm gonna make today are our bacon and egg burritos. Last time I put cheese in them and I was like, I could do without the cheese and I don't need those extra calories, so I'm gonna make them without the cheese. But because I bought this big thing of bacon here, and I realized I have 4 tortillas left in the fridge. I thought I would just make 4 of them. And I'm also going to be using some other tortillas that I have. If you're keto, you won't be eating these packaged meals. But what I've learned to do is I put any kind of processed food, if I decide to eat processed food earlier in the day. You guys do what you want. I'm not a dietitian or nutritionist, but this is what's helped me to be able to maintain. And then that way I'm totally focusing on protein and vegetables and fiber, okay? And I've frozen in these little individual, let me just check my bacon. Bacon is good. These little individual glass containers. And what I do is we can take these directly out of the freezer. This is great for anybody who is wanting to meal prep for lunch, or if you are only 1 person in your household or 2 people, and say I made an enchilada casserole, there's no way my daughter and I can eat that in 2 or 3 days. So I started meal prepping them in these freezer containers, these glass containers that are freezer friendly, dishwasher safe, microwave safe, and oven safe. So what I do is I'll put the enchilada casserole in here, I'll cook the ground beef, I'll set it as if I'm gonna put it in the oven, and instead I'll cover it tightly, put it in the freezer, and when we're ready to eat it, we put it in the microwave to defrost, then we heat it up like normal. I put these in my lunch bag, and because my lunch bag is insulated, they're still frozen at lunchtime, so I always have to defrost it and then heat it up. And they taste as if I just made them. With the freezer burritos, I cook the bacon and the eggs, and I make sure that I cook the eggs just until they're done. So I'm going to be doing different things here, and I'll show you as I go along. I'm going to take my vitamins, and the other thing I think I might do is I think I might make some version of my Zuppa Toscana soup. Because I have bacon here, I know I'm making a little bit extra, and I have ground turkey out here. I might use the ground turkey, and I also might even throw some sausage that we had left over for breakfast the other day and just throw that in there. What's great about soups like this is you can just put whatever extra vegetables you have and all of that. What I say is take my recipe, adjust what you need to adjust, and make it family friendly for you, and make it your own. I think it's Julia Childs that says there's never been a recipe I didn't want to change. So if you guys take my recipe for inspiration, that's all I care about. And as long as you're implementing systems to make your life easier, less stressful, and more pleasurable in the kitchen, go for it. So here I go. I'm getting ready to take my vitamins, and I'll cook up the bacon, and get some eggs going. Okay, so when I'm making my bacon and egg burritos, I usually have a trash bin. Okay, here's my I usually do 1 egg per tortilla, and it's only because the low carb tortillas are a little bit smaller than regular tortillas. I promise you guys, you make these and you make them with low carb tortillas, it's gonna be a little bit better than using the regular tortillas. So what I've done and how I lost 25 pounds and been able to keep it off or maintain, and when I say keep it off, yes, life happens to me and things happen where you end up gaining a little bit of weight, stress, changes in lifestyle, things like that. But I'm always able to get right back on track. I just have to get myself mentally back in the zone of eating healthy. So what I do is I took my family favorite meals and I'm like, in which way can I take this meal and make it a little bit healthier? And that is how you'll be able to incorporate healthier meals into your lifestyle and how you can feed your family healthier. Throughout each one of these little lessons or these little videos or webinars or whatever I decide to do, I'm also going to not only show you different recipes that I have and some examples of how you can switch them up and make them easier, but also tips and tricks on how I make my life easier by saving time and energy in the kitchen. And by doing that, it's either doubling up a recipe so that you can have another one in the freezer for later. That saves you not only time, it saves you stress from having to wash dishes multiple times. And then I'm also going to have a handout which is going to show you guys different things, and each week I'm going to talk about different things. This one right here is a handout about getting started, and so I'll go over that in just a little bit, okay? So let me get these eggs on the stove. Okay, you guys, so I have my bacon completely done. Look at how crispy this is. One of the tricks that I've learned is instead of putting it in a pan and cooking them individually, that's too much time, too much work, too much hassle. I have to sit at the stove all day. I chop it up and I put it in a pot and I let it cook in its own grease, and it gets super nice and crispy just like this. You just have to drain it. I used a little bit of the grease. Let me start this. I'm defrosting some other meat. I use a little bit of the grease to cook the eggs in. I put a tiny little bit of butter. It's just so flavorful and delicious. And so now, clean hands, I'm going to put, usually I put the eggs in first, but since I have the bacon done, I'll put these on all 4 of these tortillas. Okay, you guys, my eggs are about done. And what I've decided to do, I had in one of these containers, when I made enchilada casserole last week, I had extra sauce and I put it in here and I just defrosted in the microwave, added a little bit of water, and now I can use it for this week for our enchilada casserole. What's great is I am saving money. I love that. I'm not wasting it. Okay, eggs are done. I'm putting these babies on my burritos. And like I said, I tried to fit like a 1.5 eggs in each one, and the burritos wouldn't close very well. And these are really satisfying. Once I'm done eating a burrito in the morning, I'm good with my protein for a while, and it keeps me satiated for a while. So that's what I love about these. Pop it in the microwave from frozen. And depending on your microwave, it takes like 1 to 2 minutes to cook, maybe 1 to 3 minutes. Okay, to save me from having to do so many dishes, I use the same pan that I cooked my eggs in. I rinsed it out real quick, and now I have my ground beef cooking in there. Now, to roll, let me see if I can move this just a little bit so you guys can see. Some people don't know how to roll a burrito, but this is how you do it. So you have all of your stuff in the middle. You fold in the sides. You grab the back of the tortilla and fold it over in half, and then you can put the top of the tortilla down, push the stuff back, and roll, and you have a perfectly made burrito. see if I can do that again for you guys. I was trying to explain how to do it while I was doing it, and I'm like, how am I doing this? Okay, so here we go. All the stuff in the middle, fold the sides in, fold the whole tortilla over, use the top, push everything back to the center, see that there? And then roll over, and then you have a tight little burrito. Okay, you got a burrito rolling lesson in today. Okay, you guys, while I roll these, I realized that some people don't know how to do papers, and I only know that because I love watching a lot of videos. So what I do with my burrito, and I'll show you how to fold, how to wrap like sandwiches up too. When I get to different sandwiches, I might do some waffle sandwiches or something for you. So put your burrito at the corner and fold the top in, you fold the sides in, and then you roll. And perfect little burrito. Okay, I'm doing my saran wrap the same way. So I cut like a little square of paper, and I got this one stuck. Oh well. Making crazy. I'll grab this, put it at the bottom, fold it up, put both sides in, and roll. And now it's nice and tightly sealed. So when I take these out of the freezer, the last thing I'm gonna do, you don't have to do all this, but I don't want freezer burn. Again, I'm gonna do the corner in, the sides in, and roll. And once you are taking these out, oh, it got stuck defrosting. Okay. Once you're done, I put them also in a freezer bag, and these perfectly fit in these half-gallon sizes, and I can reuse these over and over. So as soon as this is done, I can just change the date and fill this baggie back up again, okay? But once you take them out of the freezer, you just unwrap the foil, and you can saran wrap. You can leave the saran wrap if you want. If you don't believe in that, you can take it off, or you can microwave it in just the parchment paper, okay? Numero uno. Come on, foil. And I got these little, since I know I'm going to be making a lot of burrito freezer meals, I got these pop-up foil squares. And this size is 12 by 10.75. I'm telling you that because one time I ordered some and they were like this size of this little square. I didn't pay attention to what size I was purchasing. So a quick breakfast. You guys can make ham ones. You can use leftover protein. You can just do egg if you're a vegetarian. You can add cheese to yours. I added cheese to mine last time, and I was just like, I just don't need it. So not adding cheese to them this time. And here we go. I have 4 servings right here. It's going to be 2 breakfasts for my daughter and I. And once I throw them in the freezer, look at how clean and easy and neat that was to make. Okay, move my camera back a little bit. Let's see there. I'm just going to use some taco seasoning. You guys can make your own homemade, and I make my own homemade. I just don't happen to have some, so I always have this as a backup. I'm going to put taco seasoning in my meat for my enchilada casserole. You guys can put sauteed pepper and onions and all that kind of stuff, but I'll tell you what, I just did the ground beef this last time, and I diced up some green onions and put on top, and cheese and sauce, and it was perfect. Like, why make things more complicated unless you're wanting to add in extra vegetables to save them from going bad, or to add them into your diet. But we're also going to have a salad with this, so I'm good with this, okay? Okay, for your enchilada casserole, you could either use low-carb tortillas, the flour ones, or I like to use the corn ones when I'm using ground beef, and I like to use the chicken ones with the flour tortillas. If you choose not to do tortillas, you don't have to do tortillas at all. But I'm gonna do corn tortillas, and per serving you can do 1 tortilla or 2 tortillas. And because doing the 2 tortillas didn't affect how I felt, didn't affect the scale too much, didn't affect, it still kept me satiated and I was eating enough protein and enough fiber that day. I'm gonna do 2 tortillas per casserole. What I do is instead of rolling them up and doing all that garbage and my hands getting dirty and all that and it's hot and you know, because I used to dip them in the hot sauce and then put the meat in, the cheese in, and roll them up. Forget that mess. I'm gonna heat these in the microwave, dice them up in little squares, mix it all up in a bowl, throw it in my little dishes. Show you in just a sec. Okay guys, I have 1 pound of ground beef back there. It's gonna make 4 servings. You can always double this recipe if you want. You can, instead of putting them in these little containers that I have, you can put it like in an 8x8 dish and you can seal that really well, freeze it, defrost it in your fridge overnight, and then have it in the oven the next day for dinner. So you're able to save a lot of time. Like I said, you're saving on dish time. You're gonna make it anyway, so why not make double the amount? I have my tortillas here. I'm gonna grab a knife, and this is what I do for my enchilada casserole. It worked out last time, so I'm gonna do it again. So I cut it up in little squares, and it makes it easy to eat also. See those little squares? And then I just dump in my bowl along with my 1 pound of ground beef. And then I'll add as much sauce as I want, saving a tiny little bit to put on top with my cheese and my green onions, and boom, dinner is made. Like if I wanted to, if I had more in my glass containers, I'm probably gonna buy some more. I would have doubled this recipe because it is so good. I could eat this for lunch every single day of the week. Okay, I hope you guys are able to keep up with me here. So I have my enchilada casserole. I just added a little bit of cheese inside just to kind of make it kind of yummy and delicious. And I'm mixing it all up. Now, I'm gonna grab my 4 dishes. Here we go. Look at this. Forget about it. So freaking delicious. And these servings are, this serving size, I'll just have to show you guys which size I use, works really well for lunches. Sometimes I eat this for brunch. Don't tell nobody. Yum. There's number 2. And number 3. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Probably gonna have one of these for lunch today. Since I drink my shake in the morning, it keeps me satiated for a couple hours. And so then I'm usually eating lunch. I get up super early, so I have lunch probably around 10 o'clock. And here we have it. Delicious. Killing me. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Okay, now on top of this, I'm gonna add a little bit more sauce, a little bit more cheese, and the green onions if I have more in my fridge. And I'll let them cool a little bit before I close them up and put them in the fridge to cool down all the way, and then I'll throw them in the freezer. So good. I'll show you in 1 second. Look at this. So I'm just going to let it get a little bit close to room temperature just for a few minutes, and then I can pop the lid on, put them in the fridge to completely cool, and then I'll put them in the freezer. It's my 3rd one. and the last one. See how quick it is to make these meals? So far, these 2 meals are my quick ones. I'm gonna have one that takes a little bit longer. It still doesn't take too long, but I have ground turkey starting to cook in the back. I have the bacon left for my faux mock Super Toscana, or it might not even be Super Toscana. I'm just gonna make a soup, like a turkey soup, and I'm just gonna use what I feel like I have on hand to meal prep, just because I'm hungry for soup today. Okay, you guys, now I am all about making things from scratch, but sometimes that's just not convenient. So my favorite thing to do is to grab, this is my favorite brand, is Las Palmas enchilada sauce. I get the medium spice one, but I tame it down. I've noticed that if I get the mild one, it just tastes yucky. I don't like the flavor. This one has a little bit more flavor. So how I doctor it up is I add some powdered Mexico chilies and or California chilies in it, maybe a couple of tablespoons, and a can of tomato sauce, and the tomato sauce thickens it up. So I heat it up just till it thickens up a little bit, because this is pretty liquidy, like it's not thick, pretty thin. And it tastes really close to when my mom makes, you know, enchiladas from scratch, like her sauce. So this is my quick way of doing it. And like I said, if you guys have extra sauce, freeze it and save it for the next time like I did. Okay, so now, because I had not planned on doing this meal prep today, I was planning on prepping, planning, all of this stuff and doing it tomorrow, which is Sunday. And I'm just doing this on the spur of the moment. I'm kind of showing you how I do things on the spur of the moment. First of all, I look and see what kind of protein I have in my fridge, what kind of pantry items or things I have in my fridge or freezer. And with my turkey soup, yes, my Zuppa Toscana recipe was the inspiration, but I am just basically making a soup that's based on that. So I looked in my fridge. I do have some green onions. I need to rinse these. I'm gonna put these on the enchilada casserole. And I also have some bell pepper left over from something I made earlier. Looks like my daughter cut up some zucchini and onion, so I could throw that in my soup. And I had some baby spinach and a couple of carrots and a little bit of celery left. And this is great. I'm just gonna use this up. So let me get these rinsed up, diced up, and thrown in while the meat is cooking. I want some of these root vegetables to get a little bit tender before I put any kind of broth in, okay? Okay, so here we go. Look what I did. I taught her how to put a paper towel in your baggie. That helps save your vegetables and lettuce and things like that. It kind of soaks up a lot of the liquid that comes out of it, and they're nice and fresh. So here's some zucchini. The ground turkey is about 50% or more cooked. I'm gonna throw that in there. I have some carrots and celery. I'm making up a new soup here. And I have some diced onions that she cut up the other day. So I'm gonna throw those in there. This is awesome. Now all I have to do is dice up some of these bell pepper, which I already washed. And so I'm just gonna, it's another thing I love to do is when I'm cooking is making sure that I have different vegetables of different colors. I eat with my eyes, that's for sure. That's for dang sure. Okay, let's get these bell pepper in there. And when I'm making soups, there's a couple of ways I like to make soups. Most of the time, I like the vegetables cut up small enough where I can have multiple types of food, you know, like everything on one spoon at a time. So I'm dicing these pretty small. But then there's other soups that I like to make that have big chunks of meat and chunks of vegetables. And so here, look how beautiful. Okay, you guys, luckily I had some chicken broth in my pantry. I'm going to go over pantry items on another lesson, but today I'm just focusing on showing you guys how I kind of wing it when I have enough product to make different dishes, and also how you can save time. So while those veggies are cooking, I'm going to go over this little handout that I have. So one thing is, when you're getting started to eating healthier, I don't think of this as a diet. I honestly think of it as a lifestyle, and it's not, I know it's very cliche, but you have to really decide what you want. Being healthy for myself and for my family in the future is my ultimate goal. And so the healthier I am, the more I'm going to be able to enjoy life. I'm going to be able to feel good about myself, have more self-confidence. I'm going to be able to do more physical activities, and I'm going to be able to focus and concentrate better. So on step one, I say define your goals. Are you wanting to feed your family healthier meals? Are you wanting to get lean and fit? Are you wanting to maximize your grocery and avoid throwing away food that has gone bad? I did mention those things, like use what you have and just get inspiration from the recipes that we have. And what I do is, if like enchilada casserole is my favorite recipe, I don't print my whole cookbook like 100 pages at a time. I print the one thing that I love, and as I make that, if that's going to be a family favorite, I put that in a binder. I'll also go over how to create your own binder, okay? And then step two is focus on nutrition. Remember earlier I was talking about how you just take your normal family favorite meals and you just make them healthier. Take a note of the extra ingredients that you have for soups, stir fries, casseroles, and scrambles. So what I did right now is, my last meal, I had ground turkey, and I thought, you know what, I'm going in my fridge and I'm just going to use what I have and use it up before it goes bad, because I'm trying to save money. Let me see if I can show you. Look at how beautiful this soup is going to be. There's bell pepper, onion, there's celery, carrots, and what else is in there? And zucchini. It's going to be delicious. Okay, my enchilada casseroles have cooled down a little bit. I was finishing up cutting veggies for my soup. I'm cutting up the green onions for these. I don't know why, but it was so good. They tasted like, I don't know, just like something fresh. And I'm just going to put a little bit on each one. And they only cooled for like 10 minutes, so they're still within safety range. And then once that, put my little lids on. Last time I put saran wrap down and then I put the lids on. I'm wondering, I'm gonna test it without, since these seals are really, really good. And I was gonna keep a couple of these out so I can have for lunch today, but since I'm making that soup, I'm gonna kind of munch on the soup and then just use this as an emergency meal. I'm so excited about all these recipes I'm gonna be sharing with you guys, because they've helped me stay on track. They've helped me cook for people, and they don't feel like they're on a diet. They're just like, oh my God, this enchilada casserole is extremely amazing. So here you have it, enchilada casserole, bacon and egg burritos, and then I'm letting the soup cook. Probably take 20 or 30 minutes for it to get totally cooked and tender, and that's about the amount of time that I need for my dishes, which there's not very many dishes at all. Okay guys, that's it for today. I have my little containers ready for when my soup is done, and I want to thank you for hanging out with me today while I meal prep, my last minute meal prepping, and hopefully you can glean a little bit from what I do, and I look forward to chatting with you guys again in the future. Love you guys, and remember, everything tastes better with options.